In a small, bustling town nestled between green hills, an unassuming cafe named Heaven's Delight had become the center of everyone's attention. The establishment wasn't grand, yet it possessed a magnetic pull, attracting visitors from neighboring towns. The menu was simple, focusing on pastries and tea, but the magic seemed to lie in the flavors, which were unlike anything anyone had ever tasted. Amora, the owner and chef, was known for her charisma and enchanting smile. She was a middle-aged woman with sharp features, jet black hair streaked with strands of silver, and a voice that carried wisdom and mystery. Beneath her warm demeanor, however, lay a secret, a peculiar and forbidden ingredient she believed held the key to her success. The beginning of the secret. Amora's journey into culinary artistry began years ago when she was struggling to make ends meet. Her mother, a herbalist and healer, had often spoken of how one's essence could influence the energy of what they created. A piece of you, her mother would say, imbues life into anything you touch. One day, while experimenting with bread dough in her tiny kitchen, Amora remembered her mother's words. She laughed at the absurdity but also felt a strange pull to test the theory. Her eyes landed on her reflection in the mirror across the room. It wasn't her hands or her hair she noticed, it was the raw, primal part of herself, hidden from the world, the part that represented her femininity and power. In a moment of impulsive curiosity, she plucked a single strand of her pubic hair and mixed it into the dough. The act felt rebellious, almost sacrilegious, yet oddly empowering. She baked the loaf, tasted it, and found it to be no different in texture or flavor. However, the feeling was unforgettable, a strange satisfaction, as if she had unlocked a secret. When she began her cafe months later, she incorporated the same practice. At first, it was symbolic, one strand for every batch of dough or tea. To her, it represented her essence, her energy, her sacrifice. She was giving a part of herself to her craft. The rise of Heaven's Delight. Heaven's Delight quickly gained a reputation. Locals swore by the pastries, claiming they were addictive in the best way possible. Word spread, and people began traveling miles to taste Amora's creations. She attributed her success to her mother's wisdom. Each bite, she believed, carried a fragment of her spirit, binding her customers to her food in a way that felt almost mystical. But with success came scrutiny. As the cafe gained fame, people began to whisper. "She's hiding something," one customer murmured after noticing Amora's nervous glance as a batch of pastries went into the oven. Others speculated that she used rare, expensive spices. Some claimed she was dabbling in witchcraft. Amora dismissed the gossip, confident no one would guess the truth. To her, the practice was harmless, a private ritual that connected her to her art. The turning point. One fateful day, a food critic from a prestigious magazine visited Heaven's Delight. Tall, stern-faced, and impeccably dressed, Peter Greaves was known for his brutal honesty. Amora greeted him warmly, though her hands trembled as she set a tray of pastries and tea before him. Peter's reaction was instantaneous. His eyes widened as he bit into a flaky croissant. "This is remarkable," he said, breaking his usual stoic demeanor. He took another bite, savoring it. "The layers, the texture, the flavor, it's unlike anything I've had." His glowing review catapulted Heaven's Delight into the spotlight. Amora was flooded with customers, invitations to culinary events, and even offers to franchise her cafe. She felt both exhilarated and terrified. Her secret was now at greater risk than ever. Unraveling. Among the new wave of customers was Lila, a young, ambitious journalist known for her investigative pieces. Lila had a knack for uncovering secrets, and something about Heaven's Delight intrigued her. The cafe's success seemed too good to be true, and Amora's evasive answers to questions only fueled Lila's curiosity. Lila began to dig deeper, interviewing former employees and frequent customers. She noticed inconsistencies in Amora's explanations about her ingredients. A former dishwasher mentioned seeing Amora spend hours alone in the kitchen, muttering to herself. A supplier noted that Amora ordered fewer ingredients than expected for the volume of food she produced. Lila's persistence eventually led her to the cafe's trash bins, where she sifted through discarded dough and wrappers. She found nothing unusual until she stumbled upon a single, coarse strand of hair embedded in a torn piece of dough. It was too short and thick to be from Amora's head. Her mind raced as she pieced together the clues. Could it be possible? The idea was both revolting and fascinating. Determined to uncover the truth, Lila confronted Amora one evening as the cafe was closing. The confrontation. "Amora," Lila began, her voice steady but firm, "I know your secret." Amora froze, her hands tightening around the edge of the counter. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, forcing a smile. Lila placed the strand of hair on the counter. "This was in your dough. It's not from your head, is it?" Silence hung in the air like a thick fog. Amora's face paled, but she quickly regained her composure. "And what if it isn't? What are you suggesting?" Lila leaned closer. "I think you're using your own body hair in your food." Amora sighed, her shoulders slumping. There was no point denying it. "Yes," she admitted. "I use a single strand in each batch. It's my way of connecting with my creations. It's harmless." Lila stared at her, torn between disbelief and admiration. "Do your customers know?" "Of course not," Amora said sharply. "They wouldn't understand. To them, it's disgusting. To me, it's symbolic. It's personal." Lila considered her next move. The revelation was a journalist's dream, but it also felt intrusive. Amora wasn't harming anyone, and her intentions weren't malicious. Yet the public had a right to know, didn't they? The fallout. Lila's article, titled "The Secret Ingredient of Heaven's Delight," was published a week later. She chose her words carefully, presenting the facts without sensationalism. She described Amora's practice as a unique, albeit unconventional, method rooted in personal belief. The reaction was explosive. Some customers were horrified and vowed never to return. Others defended Amora, praising her honesty and artistry. Social media erupted with debates, memes, and even parody recipes. Amora faced both backlash and support. Protesters picketed outside her cafe, while loyal patrons formed a protective circle around her business. Despite the chaos, Amora refused to apologize. "My food is an extension of myself," she told a reporter. "If that offends you, don't eat it." A new chapter. Months passed, and the frenzy gradually subsided. Heaven's Delight remained open, though its clientele shifted. The curious and adventurous replaced the outraged. Amora embraced her new identity as an unconventional chef, hosting workshops and writing a book about her philosophy. Lila, meanwhile, grappled with her role in the saga. She received praise for her balanced reporting but also criticism for exposing such a personal practice. In the end, she found solace in knowing she had told the truth. And though she no longer needed to include that peculiar ingredient, Amora often did, because, to her, it wasn't just hair. It was a piece of herself, baked into every bite.